Greetings from Podcastville. The church is brought to you by. There's a buzzy gift on everybody's list this year. It's something they'll use twice every day. It was featured on Oprah's old list, and it's perfect for everyone with a mouth. No, this is a gift of Quip, an electric toothbrush designed to make brushing better. Let me tell you something. They sent me two of them. Me and my wife, they're hooked on them. And as far as going on the road with them, they're easy. They only need one plug-in. They stay charged. This is the future. Do you understand me? If you're into this type of clean mouth or whatever the hell you want to do, with the sonic vibrations gentle enough on your sensitive gums and a built-in timer with guiding pulses to remind you when to switch sides. That's a toothbrush. So see why I love Quip and why you might think Quip is a good gift. That's why I love Quip. That's why they have over 5,000 verified 5-star reviews. Quip looks like a big-ticket gift with the stocking stuffer price, starting at just $25. And if you go to getquip.com right now, you'll get your first refill pack for free. Free! With the Quip electric toothbrush. But you don't have to tell your giftee that. That's your first refill pack free at getquip.com/Joey. Number 2. Listen, 2019's coming. You want to start the year, you're getting a little older. You're not getting no younger. Robinhood is an investment app that lets you buy and sell stocks, ETFs, options, and cryptos, all commission-free. Did you hear me? All commission-free. They strive to make financial services work for everybody, not just the wealthy. For guys like you and me. Not intimidating way for the stock market newcomers to invest for the first time with true confidence. Simple and intuitive, clear design with the data presented in an easy-to-digest way. I'll tell you what, my wife's been using it, and she loves it. The app, it's nice and easy, but the most important thing about this Robinhood app is that there's no commission fees, okay? Other brokerages charge up to $10. With Robinhood, it's gratis. Robinhood is giving the church family a way to start 2019 on the right foot. They're going to give you a free stock like Apple, Ford, or Sprint to help you build your portfolio. Sign up at church.robinhood.com. Again, that's church.robinhood.com. This is the way to start the new 2019. Lee, kick that motherfucking meal. Who do? No, fucking tremendous.
That harmonica?
Oh, please. Whitney Cummings, tremendous.
Why does that touch my heart? Harmonica.
This is, sometimes I put this shit on, it sounds outdated, The Doors, but you're like.
Classic.
It's fucking classic.
If that song were to be released today, it'd be the number one hit for 2 years, I feel like.
You think so?
It's just
like re-released?
timeless. Don't you think? If somebody it was a new artist.
Yeah, somebody redid it.
Really?
The guy that did the 50 for 50 tour in the 80s redid it. Not as good. You know, I like, he always sings about booze.
I don't know.
Jack
Google
Daniels
that shit.
and fucking, it don't fucking matter.
Oh, Johnny Cash?
No.
George Thorogood?
George Thorogood and the Destroyers redid it, but it wasn't no fucking Jim Morrison shit. Jim Morrison took it to a different level. Whitney Cummings, a pleasure. 7 years I'm waiting.
You're like the Jim Morrison of comedy.
I'm fucking waiting here for you. 7 years I'm waiting here on the street corner like fucking the singer from Guns N' Roses in November rain. I'm sitting there.
I've always wanted to do your show. I'm too intimidated by you. And we just didn't know
we were both intimidated by each other.
That's so weird. That can't be true.
First of all,
Lee,
like
I was bullshitting me.
No, I get very intimidated by some women.
He would bring you up and he'd be like, I don't want to bother her at the store.
I don't want to bother you. I don't like bothering people. You know, some women have, and it wasn't an air of bitchiness or nothing. It was just an air of, I'm Whitney fucking Cummings. And I respected that.
That's super kind. And you have this too, like before I go on, I'm not that social. Like I'm kind of like super focused and I'm trying to get a vibe of the crowd. Like I'm not great at socializing at the Comedy Store until after my set. And I think a lot of people think that I'm like a bitch or like aloof, and it's not. I'm just like insecure and I'm trying to like try out new shit. And, you know, and the Comedy Store has gotten super like popping lately. And there's like agents in there and I just get nervous.
Here's the deal. You go there the great Paul Mooney once told me to be an entertainer, you have to be entertained. So Tuesday nights, what I do is if my spot's at 10:30, yeah, I like to go into Sam's room and make some extra money or who's ever in there. But I'll tell you what's fun. You know what's fun? To smoke a half a doob, maybe pop a quarter of a Xanax, and sit in Mitzi's chairs in the back and watch the 3 people that are up before you. That's
if you did that and watched my set, I would leave. I would stop performing.
I do it all the time.
Comics.
I went down there to watch you the other night, and then I got up and went to the main room.
If I had known that, I would have.
No, I didn't let you. And then I walked out of the front when you were getting
so
on.
Mad. This is why I do flappers. This is why I do little clubs.
No, I
don't like comics I respect.
I want to learn from you. I see what you're doing. Remember, unless you're a fucking moron, that you can learn something from every comic, whether at the open mic level to the highest level. An open mic comic has something that'll go, fuck, I used to do that.
Yep.
Okay? Don't tell me.
Yeah, that's right.
And a fucking pro like Ron White will do something go, fuck, I gotta start doing that.
Right.
So
when I watch Ron White, I'm just like,
yes.
The music.
So you got you, D'Elia, Ali Wong, Rogan, and then me.
No.
Okay? So I gotta watch everybody. I watch D'Elia, and I'm sitting back there going, now when I'm watching D'Elia, I'm going, thank God I don't got to follow this bitch. Because that's been slow deaths for me.
Yeah.
I followed D'Elia. It took me about 6 months to get the hang of how to follow D'Elia. And if they're with him, you're done.
I had to follow you one night. I don't think you remember this at the comedy
the Netflix
store.
thing.
That's right. You were killing, like the building was shaking. Like it was like shit was shaking. And I think you did a half hour. Am I wrong?
22.
I think you did more than 15 minutes, and it was just like, I mean, it was like applause break after setups. Like you were killing so hard. I was like looking around. I was like, anyone? I lied about having a migraine. I do get migraines a lot, but I was like, does someone? My head's starting to hurt. Like just thinking about going on after you. And I got up, and I was like, I can do this. I can fucking handle it. And I had to regroup. I just like barreled into my material, and I tried to just like channel your momentum, and they were not having it. And I had to go, okay, guys.
Stop, take a breather.
I know you guys miss Joey. So do I. Let's just regroup. Like I had to just address it because there was this like a mourning in the room that you had gotten off stage. And I just had to totally reset the energy. Sometimes Sebastian will do that. I learned I learned that from Sebastian when he follows like a really high energy act. He'll kind of just pace around like a fucking lion in a cage for like 30 seconds and just kind of like get the focus back onto him.
That was the original teachings of Mitzi Shore.
Really?
For me to punch you in the face.
Yep.
And for you to be able to put your hands up, breathe, and think about what your next move is. That's why I take my daughter to Bully Buster. Because every class she gets belted in the head. And it makes her think. Or she belts somebody in the head.
Right.
And life is all about getting belted in the head and what's your next move.
Right.
If I belt you in the head and cover your head, you lost the war.
Right.
You know, when I first went to the store, it was Dom Herrera. That was unfollowable.
Yeah.
Unfollow. I mean, I remember driving down there like with tears in my eyes. Like, why am I going to go down there to die? And a black guy with dreads that isn't around no more. He was spotless clean and a killer. He had been around for 25 years. He was there from the beginning. And Mitzi would still give him spots at 12:30. And I would have to go from following him in the original room to Dom in the main room. So I would go down there just to take 2 beatings. And then it takes a couple months to learn. Once you go up there and go, let's keep it going for Whitney Cummings.
Right.
Isn't she great?
Right.
I wish I could. You died. You died. I have to go up there and say, let's keep it going for Whitney Cummings. But then, without saying this, I got to go, fuck Whitney Cummings.
Yep.
It's Uncle Joey time now, bitches.
Yep.
And you have to learn how to make that transition.
And what you're saying is now clicking for me about watching the comic before, because Dom, whenever he goes after a comic, I've noticed he'll kind of do tags on the jokes before him, of the set before him.
Why not?
And it kind of like fuses
Bonds
the energy.
And it's tremendous
like,
for the room.
Yeah, it's tremendous for the room, and it feels like we're all a team, and it's not like the audience is like, oh, here's our commercial break. You know, like it's not such a hard pivot, and he does it so masterfully. Like whenever he follows me, he'll do a bunch of tags on my jokes, which I'm like, can I have those? And I think it makes it less like traumatic for the audience, energy wise.
Now you're a young woman. You've had great success in LA in a long time. You've been here how long? 11 years?
More than that, I think. I said 11. I feel like I said 5 years for like 10 years. So I moved out here in like 2003.
Fucking tremendous.
Yeah, 2003, 2004.
Up, straight out of college.
I'm kind of from
acting
Philadelphia.
arts,
Yeah.
and just started writing. Boom, bam.
You know, yes and no. Like, I think everyone kind of knows about your successes and nobody publicizes your failures, right? No one's blasting out all the shows that didn't go or all the scripts that didn't get made. But the first job I got was that show Punk'd, which was that
Steve Renazizi.
yeah, he was on it. Yeah. I
yeah.
forgot he was on it.
Fuck yeah.
I think he was the season after me. BJ Novak was on it. Dax Shepard, I think, was
that's
on
how
it.
Dax
That's
blew
right.
up. That's how Dax blew up pretty much.
Yeah, that first season, and but that was paying, for after scale once every 3 weeks or something. I wasn't actually paying my bills or anything, but I remember I would write specs. Like, I'd write specs for TV shows, and I was like writing scripts, but most of them never got made. I mean, I wrote like 4 pilots that never got made. And then my first real job, I got a job writing on Last Call with Carson Daly. Like, I got a stand-up spot on there, and then they let me write because I think they just like needed a girl. And then I always wanted to write for the roasts. Like, that was just my dream. And I would like write jokes, and I would write jokes, and they said like, nope, they're not hiring anybody. Like, they have the same group of dudes that they always have. And I just kept writing jokes, and I just wouldn't take no for an answer. And I wrote for the Flavor Flav roast, I want to say. I wrote like 17 pages of jokes for everyone that I thought might be on the show. Lisa Lampanelli, Jeff Ross, Greg Giraldo, like all the guys that are kind of normally on it. And I sent it in, and there was a joke they really wanted, so they had to hire me for a week. And a comic named Samore ended up doing it, but the joke was about Flavor Flav, and the joke was, Flav, you look like what Magic Johnson should look like right now. So that was a joke, and they wanted to use it, and they couldn't just, so they had to like hire me for a week, which like was a formality, but I was just like working my ass off to try to get them to have me back the next week. So I ended up writing on the roast, and then I ended up doing the roast. So I think that's kind of the first thing that I kind of did that anyone cared about.
You've been relentless.
Relentless.
And then I still remember I wasn't going to the store. You were really fucking smacking people around.
What?
And you produced this stand-up show on Showtime.
I can't believe you remember that.
Okay, and this is why I'm going to tell you why I remember that, because up to that time, yeah, I was funny and I had my moments and whatever, but I was missing something. Something was missing from my act to get me to that next level.
Huh.
And your show came on a Friday night or something, and there was a particular comic that I'm going to leave nameless that I was dear friends with, and he told me he was going to tape your show. So the show came on, you come out, welcome to my show, blah, 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 blah. And I got to take a shit. But the bathroom was close to the TV. So I'm like, she's probably going to bring up somebody else before my friend. Let me just go in there and take this shit. Well, I took the shit with the bathroom door open.
I was probably taking a shit on
and
stage.
She brought my friend on stage. You brought my friend on stage. And I had been friends with this person for years. And did I like his stand-up? He had moments that he made me laugh. But he had the same problem I had, that something was missing. And from me listening, I couldn't watch him. I had to listen to his set while I was taking his shit. I said, that's it. I'm not doing those style of jokes no more. And I became a storyteller. From you doing that show and me listening to that comic and realizing how bad he really was, I started storytelling.
This is blowing my mind.
This is how crazy it is. And I'll tell you after the show.
So
who the
I'm the
comic is.
reason you're the Richard Pryor of our day?
No. The reason why, while I was taking a shit, I heard him do the material. And when I had the opportunity to do a podcast, I loved it. Wow. And I did not want it edited. I did not want music added.
Well, you're so fucking good at it.
I didn't want anything to it. I wanted it. I grew up on, how old is your dad?
He's passed, but he would be 74.
Okay.
Oh, it's okay. No, thanks.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, thanks.
When you're 50, we grew up on listening to albums. All those Richard Pryor albums and all that shit I have.
Yep.
I learned on listening, not viewing. There was no specials when I was a kid. So I had to buy Bicentennial Nigger. I had to buy, was it something I said? I had to buy George Carlin Live. I had to buy
And you had to
all these
sit there
albums.
and listen.
Lenny,
you couldn't walk around. It wasn't in the car. It wasn't out in the gym. It was
so by me listening to that guy do those fucking straight dumb type jokes that they get a laugh, and they get a laugh in a club You'll be a feature act for the rest of your life. You'll be a great feature for the rest of your life doing those types of
But no one,
jokes.
you go off stage, no one knows who you are.
Nobody knows who you are.
No one's changed, no
Right
one's
from
learned.
that decision, from being in that bathroom, I wiped my ass, and I went out there, watched the rest of the show, and that Monday I started writing a blog on MySpace. I would write a story about my life, misspelling words, your. Like I hadn't written since college. I hadn't written anything since college. Yeah, on a joke, on a piece of paper, and you try it, but I hadn't gotten in front of a computer or anything since college. So I lost all my pronunciation, and I started writing a blog every Monday. No matter what I did, that blog had to be up about a particular story in my life. Me mugging somebody, me fucking having sex with somebody behind a tree, and it turned me into a story.
All stuff that couldn't be one-liners.
Letting people, even if it is a one-liner, why is it a one-liner, and how does it affect you? And how is it going to affect the audience by you saying it this way? So this is the reason why I'm telling you this fucking joke. And this is the reason why you're going to fucking believe it and laugh at it.
And remember it. And
remember
be
it.
bonded to me.
I wasn't doing that. I was doing kind of a Rodney type thing. One-liners are great. Have you ever seen somebody do one-liners in 45 minutes?
I have seen it.
You want to stick a knife in your
You
throat.
want it's
like
it's
no
monotonous.
disrespect to any.
It's hard. It's
No
just monotonous.
disrespect to anybody that's handicapped. I loved handicapped comics, but it's tough to pay $45 for yee. After 20 minutes, you're like, how much yees can I get? You know, that's why you got to put them in 20-minute shows, because if not, you get all yee out and fucking. You know what I'm saying? I mean, no offense to nobody. I'm just telling you the truth. That, you know, it's like the Chinese guy with a ping pong ball. After
Right.
20 minutes, I don't want to see it no more. You know what I'm saying? All right, you can do a ping pong ball. Now
It's like I'm just fucking seasick.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
I don't know why I'm nauseous from it.
You know, I want the guy that sucks you in and tells you why I sucked 3 dicks that night.
Right.
Tell me why.
Yeah.
If you're a woman and you go up on stage and go, well, I sucked 3 dicks, I sucked a great dick. I'm impressed with you. And you know what? If I had a rock of coke, I'd probably talk to you after the show. But if you told me why you sucked the 3 dicks,
Yeah.
it would make me feel a lot different. So that's what I did from listening to that comic on your show, and that was at the,
And it was like
what year was that?
that was like must have been if I
8,
2007, yeah,
8.
7, 8. Maybe because that was like the first thing I ever produced, and I kind of fell into it in a weird way.
Right.
They wanted me to write jokes, but then I started then they were like, "Well, you know comics, why don't you just produce it?" Like I didn't really know what I was doing, you know.
Didn't matter.
And I
babe.
really kind of just like booked comics that I either had their number or I thought they didn't like me, and I wanted to like give them a
Right,
job
sure.
so that they'd like me more. Like Ian Edwards, I never knew if he liked me or not, and I like loved him, so I was like, hey, you want to do my show? It was like my way of just like trying to get like to
Good
hang
for
out with
you,
him.
man.
Yeah. Or just like people who I thought that I at least knew that I knew needed like a TV set, or like Chris D'Elia, I don't think he had done a TV set at that point. And him and I were doing like open mics and doing like Long Beach bowling alleys and shit. And I was like, I think this guy's pretty good. And then just people that needed like a tape, you know, because back then, if you didn't have a tape, you didn't have shit.
Damn shit.
You needed a tape. Remember that? You needed a 5-minute tape to do the talk shows, to do Letterman, to do Leno. Everyone was just trying to get a tape.
And I
Like,
would never send a tape out.
yeah,
I would send blank tapes out.
that's amazing.
And sometimes they call me and say, your set was great, but we're not going to use you for this segment and shit like that.
Wait, shut up. You would intentionally send a blank.
I would send blank tapes to everybody. The best one was the guy from Houston, Mark Babbitt, who called me back and said, your tape was great. And he was a cokehead and a half.
What
But that's how I got with him. And then years later, I heard about Chelsea sending the tape out with her fucking on the washer and dryer at the end.
Is that true? I don't.
It's like fucking everybody. I never saw it.
Was it sent to the Comedy Store?
No, it was sent to different bookers. And it was sent like as a joke from Chelsea. I heard it was a joke from Chelsea.
Oh, got it.
Because Chelsea put 5 minutes of her doing stand-up.
Right.
And then her getting fucked on a washer dryer just to see if they would watch past that certain point.
It's a pretty good. It's a pretty good
And
joke.
then they came back out years later and said she put out a sex tape. And she was like,
No, I
"Dummies,
was joking. Oh, she did it as a joke.
I sent it out.
I remember that now.
Do you remember now? That's why she's like,
She totally fucking
Hey,
slammed.
dummies.
They were like, yeah, assholes.
She's like, hey, dummies, guess who sent that out?
Yeah, me.
Me. Because the guy at the Comedy Store was the one that edited for her. And he, after about 3 weeks, he couldn't take it, and he had to tell somebody. I just handed it a tape for Chelsea. They tried doing 5 minutes, and they're fucking at the end on a washer dryer. So Chelsea just wanted to fuck with people.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that's what it was.
That's so funny. I think you're right. You're definitely right.
Towards the end of her show, they came back at her and said,
"Yeah, they tried to unearth some scandal.
Right.
Don't try to make this a thing."
They even tried to blackmail her. Didn't they even try to like say we have a sex
Chelsea
tape?
doesn't give a fuck.
And she's like,
she
guys,
gives no fucks.
You want that tape? I got it at my house.
Nope. I'll tweet this shit right this minute. Yeah, I looked good back then. Yeah, I would love to tweet my naked body from 50 years ago.
I knew Chelsea back then.
I knew Chelsea. I think you knew her probably before I did.
98.
Yeah, you knew her before I did.
98.
I mean, I knew her when she got her, like, right before she got the pilot.
I tortured her, and she fucking hated me ever since.
Oh, no.
Hated me ever since. At the Black Club next to the chicken place.
In L.A.?
Yeah, down on Wilshire. There's a Black Club.
The Union or something?
Oh,
the Union,
yeah.
The Comedy Union.
Oh, yeah. What happened to that place?
I think it's still going on.
It's still going on. Yeah, it's still going on.
I remember going there. Is that the place in the open mic you have to pick out of a bucket? Like all these open micers come and they put in their name.
They have a lot of those now.
But you wait. They don't even pick it out and say go home.
It's a lottery. They make you wait the whole time.
You have to wait the whole. You wait 4 hours.
That's why I try not to do them. I get stuck at going to a few of the same places because that's brutal.
Like the Improv Olympic does that too. You wait for 3 hours.
Ice House does it. A lot of places do.
Improv Olympic is done.
It is.
How crazy is that? The one on Hollywood is.
Yeah, close to a year or two ago, right?
It is crazy that it was there for that long. The best real estate in the city. That Improv Olympic was paying that rent next to the Roosevelt.
The Improv Olympic was a ripoff.
I only went to go do stand up, and you'd go at 4 o'clock, and you'd wait till 10, and probably not even get up.
Jeez, it was a fucking.
That's why I only did bars. I would do that Westwood Brew Co. Did you ever go down there?
Never.
In Westwood?
That's Neil's, right?
It was. No, Neil's is West Side Comedy Theater. That's now. But there was a bar at Westwood on the UCLA campus that we would go to on Mondays and Thursdays. You show up at 10 o'clock and you go on at like 1 a.m. You just wait. There's a bunch of drunk college kids like, nah! Like just walking out during your set, singing karaoke next door. It was a nightmare. I mean, I did shitholes for a long time. That Lucky Strike bowling alley. This is why I think you and I never saw each other.
That's why.
Because you were doing clubs and I was doing like rooms. I was doing rooms. I was doing like Miyagi's. Do you remember the sushi restaurant? They used to have a room there.
Tuesday nights.
Yeah, that's right. Tuesday night, 10 o'clock. And they'd have MTV Jams playing on the TV loud, so you'd have to scream over the 90s R&B music.
Now, across the street, was it still Jay Davies and Dane Cook?
I missed that.
Things?
Dublin's, I was never there. I came right after Dublin.
Let me tell you something, man. You get nostalgic about your comedy career, and you think about, like, there's nights I make that ride on Laurel Canyon to the Comedy Store, and my heart stops. 20 years ago, that was complete. First off, when you're parked on Laurel Canyon, right there, this is Sunset. That's the fucking mall and the fucking Dragon.
Virgin Megastore.
That's a gas
Crunch.
station. If you look to your right there, that used to be a rock club. Huge comedy. Huge comedy.
That nightclub thing?
That nightclub was an old guitar like Nirvana.
Oh, shit.
So Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, they let 10 comics up between 7 and 9. And then the rock bands came on at 9.
Oh, shit.
You went down 30 more yards. Taquito, whatever, across the street. There's the National Lampoon building.
Yep, Pinche's Tacos.
Then there's the Pinche's Tacos. There was a bar under there, the Union. That was.
It's called the Den now. Yeah.
That was booked by Ahmed and what's the movie star?
Tom Cruise.
No.
Used to run a room.
No, him and this is
Rusty
when they
Dooley.
Dodgeball. Him and
Will Ferrell.
No, when they hit that movie
Ben
in '98.
Stiller?
What's that movie? Him and John Favreau and the other fucking guy
Vince Vaughn.
Swingers. When they did Swingers, they all lived together. So Ahmed and Vince Vaughn lived together. So Ahmed and Vince Vaughn put together a room at the Union. They would go. Then Vince Vaughn broke up with his girlfriend, and she stayed in the apartment with Ahmed, pretty girl, great girl, and they would run the room together. That became a fucking drug comedy. Nick DiPaolo, Pauly Shore. I mean, that was like, because Tuesday night was the all-black night at the Comedy Store.
Right.
So the original room would only get 8 white people.
So wait, Trippin' Tuesdays has been going on. That's what?
Where
is Trippin' Tuesdays?
What's Trippin' Tuesday?
Isn't that the Comedy Store Urban Night?
That was something else. That was called. That was the two brothers from St. Louis. That the one guy did American X and the other guy did the Jackson movie, the Michael Jackson, the Janet Jackson movie, Joe Torre.
That's right, Joe Torre. Oh, that's crazy.
And that place was sold out every fucking Tuesday.
I remember when I first came, like, you have these little photographs in your mind that are just emblazoned in your brain, and one of them was Torre. Like, I remember going to Comedy Store. I remember the first time I went on the OR stage, and, Letterman is written in lights, right? Yakov Smirnoff. I never knew what that I didn't even know. And I was just like, Yakov. And those were burned into my brain as I was bombing as an open micer. Because I would go every Sunday and Monday to the Comedy Store open mic, and Doc would help me out, And I remember going up there. But Joe Torre, that's one of them also. Crazy Cindy.
Mm-hmm. And then
Vargas.
And then the union fizzled out. And Jay Davies moved in there with the beginning of the Dane Cook area. But across the street on Tuesday nights was danger.
Why?
Miyagi's was pure danger. Because every comic
eat that sushi, you're in a lot of danger.
Because every comic found out they give you free sushi if you did a set. So
10 p.m. Tuesday sushi I don't recommend
Ralphie May, it was all those savages. Mm-hmm. But I still remember being at Jay Davies's room.
Dublin's.
And getting a call from my ex-stripper girlfriend going, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "I'm at the Dublin's." And she's like, "Come across the street. You're not going to believe this." It was Whitney Houston singing "I Will Always Love You." Bobby Brown was in the audience. And then when she got off, Fucko got up on stage. "Hit me, baby, one more time."
Britney Spears?
Britney Spears.
At Miyagi's?
At Miyagi's on a Tuesday night, all you could eat sushi. That's how big it had blown up to. Like Tuesday.
That is bananas.
Next to the Pink Taco now.
I know exactly. It was 2 floors.
Upstairs.
You got on stage. I remember there was a bridge. Remember there was a moat? Like you had to go up on stage, and there was a little bridge between you and the audience, like a little koi ponds. I don't think there was. I remember because I just remember one time watching Duncan Trussell go up there with his fucking suitcase back when he would do the ventriloquist, and I remember he's like, no one could hear any of us, and we couldn't tell if we were all just bombing so hard or if they actually just couldn't hear us because the audience was so far away, and they were playing MTV Jams like loud, and he just started like insulting people in the audience, saying the most insane shit, and we were dying. I mean, it was like the hardest, I think, one of the hardest times I've ever laughed, besides Brody Stevens ringing in the New Year like 8 years ago at the Comedy Store and telling people in the audience that he was going to ruin their New Year's Eve. I will ruin your New Year's at 11:45 on New Year's Eve. A bunch of couples just sitting there with balloons hanging, just fucking.
Are you doing New Year's this year?
Phoenix.
Are you
yes,
really?
Sir.
You're a ballsy savage.
Yeah, Phoenix is fun.
Phoenix Stand Up Live.
I don't think it's Stand Up Live. It's the new place. I don't remember what it's called. It's brand new. Is it Stand Up Live?
Yeah, it's Stand Up Live, 650.
I think it's.
So are you doing the whole weekend or just New Year's?
It's called CB.
So you're doing a theater, darling.
It's new, maybe. It's called CB on Tatum. I don't even know. They just booked this shit. I don't ask a lot of questions. But I think it's the same owner.
Okay, so.
Phoenix.
And are you doing the whole weekend prior to that?
Nope, I'm in Portland up until New Year's Eve. I do Portland and then I go to Phoenix. Hitting it.
I'm doing Oxnard that week, but I'm not doing
that club is gorgeous.
Oxnard.
Love it.
I love it.
Love
I can't wait.
It's perfect box. Perfect club.
Perfect.
I love Ontario. I love doing shows around LA that aren't right in LA.
How's the new Brea?
Huge.
Have you been in
and
there?
Excellent. Yes, it's great.
Better than Irvine? You know, Irvine, I eat a bag of dicks.
You know what? I always eat shit at Irvine.
Okay, there's 2 people. Irvine and Cobb's. I go there just to die a slow death.
You don't vomit Cobb's.
Oh, I might as well just go in there.
They're so like politically correct.
I got to go in there asshole first. Just asshole first with no grease. Cocoa butter, maybe if you're lucky. That's how I got to go on stage at Cobb's. Like,
is it because they're so PC, like San Francisco?
Yeah, the Punchline is where I get down. I can take
Punchline is fun. You should just do Palace of Fine Arts. You should just do a theater. You get your people. You don't get a bunch of.
How is the Palace of Fine Arts?
Beautiful.
Okay,
so theater. Cool. What is it? 700, 8,000, not even 1,000 seats.
You do 2 shows.
I haven't done it in a while because I did Cobb's last time I was there. I did a full weekend at Cobb's. But yeah, you'll do 2 shows one night. Yeah, you do a 7 and a 9. It's beautiful because I think that Cobb's you need a lot of walk-ins that are sort of like, you're not allowed to say that.
For one weekend, I co-headlined with Ari. I bombed until the Saturday Late Show. I just couldn't take it no more. I just couldn't take it no more. You know, like I can't take it no more.
By the way, bombing at Cobb's is a very specific type of bombing because it's very cavernous.
Oh my God.
It's very deep and it's very
deep.
like you can't like there's certain places like the punchlines. If you're eating shit, you can kind of fix it. You can kind of because you can see the audience. But if you're bombing at Cobb's, I mean, you are.
It's a death.
You're
just. It's death. It's
shit,
rough.
Shit.
And it's like, you know what else? Every time I'm in there, I always think a fire is going to start. I always think of the movie Carrie when I'm up on stage. It's one of those places that has that fire look to it.
By the way, I would love for blood to come down and drench me.
Oh
that might get some laughs, actually.
I love to see them light them up. Like, every time I'm up there, I'm like, somebody could start a fire in the back. I don't know why. I always think
every comedy club. I'm surprised they don't catch on fire every day.
It's an old building.
That one smells like arson. I know arson when I see it. I know arson when I see it, and I can tell that building has arson written all over it. You know, they burnt the old one.
No, everyone in San Francisco.
No, they built the old Cobb's. I'm not joking.
What do you mean?
Go online. There used to be an old Cobb's that got lit on fire. Don't tell me my business.
But here's what
Don't tell me my business. I know a building when it's going to go on fire.
Here's what I'll say. Everyone in San Francisco vapes now. Nobody smokes.
I don't mean nothing. All you need is a little butane. I got Jews that are going to your place with a little butane in their sock. And one of those lighters, one of those matches they light off their foot, off their shoes. Your business will be in flames like fucking the communist guerrillas lit the palace of fucking whatever in flames in that fucking thing. What's that narco show I watched again
I love
this
that
week?
show. Wait, so Cobb's used to be, it burned down?
Cobb's used to be somewhere else.
In 2002... Hold on.
Come on, dog. Why do you think I'll be
Who
dropping?
was it? I don't. I believe you.
It was on Chestnut Street in the marina, and then in 2002 it moved to Columbus Ave.
What was it? Was it Carrot Top practicing his act?
I don't know what happened.
How did it catch on fire?
I don't know what happened. I don't know.
That's fucking crazy. Well, whenever you walk through kitchens at comedy clubs, it's kind of a fun thing to do. You walk through the kitchen, you're just looking around, and you're like, fingers crossed we're going to survive tonight, when you go around some of these older clubs.
Oh, there's some, I was in La Jolla this weekend. I love that club.
I was there 2 weeks ago.
What I'm going to do is, that is the club I'm going to the week before I tape.
I'm doing it. I'm doing 4 nights at the March 20th, the week before my special.
Where are you taping?
Always DC.
Oh, you going back home?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I had, the last 2 specials I taped here because there's something to be said for you do 50 cities and then you're doing your special and you get on the road and you're sleeping in a hotel, and, so I was like, let me just sleep in my own bed. So I did that Broad Theater in Santa Monica for one, and then I did Irvine, Barclay Theater out there at University of California, Irvine. And then I was like, oh, why don't I do LA again? And I was like, you know what? It's just, I'm worried it's feeling too much like an echo chamber, and I don't want this to feel like a liberal elite comedy special. I want it to work everywhere. I'm going everywhere, and then I just want to shoot it in DC because there's a little bit of everything there, like a diverse city.
DC is the weirdest town because I do great there.
Why is that weird? You do great everywhere.
I go off in that place.
I love
one
it.
Of my CDs in there.
I love it.
I go
love
off in that place.
I love it. There's secrets in DC. There's lies in DC. Everyone in DC has it's like Hollywood, but a different business. I grew up in DC, and it's whereas LA's about fame, New York's about money, DC's about power. You go there because you want some kind of power, you want to be involved in the scene. It's just a different kind of Hollywood, and it's a lot of sinister shit goes on in DC. It's a lot of motherfuckers live there, and that's kind of what I like about it. And there's a lot of diversity.
This last time I went, I had John Bernthal on the show.
Yeah,
the guy
love
from
him.
Walking Dead.
I have you seen a movie called Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl?
No.
His performance in it is A+.
Well, I didn't know he was from DC.
Oh, I didn't either.
Yeah, so we were talking, and I'm like, I'm in DC this week. It's like, where are you at? I go, I'm at the 930 Club. It's like, oh,
yo, that is the 930 Club.
So he went off.
That is,
he's like, you don't understand.
That's like a religious experience.
I used to go there to the go-go dancing.
Well, Dave Grohl. I mean, that's like DC. Yeah. So Henry Rollins. I saw Henry Rollins for the first time when I was 15 years old at the 930 Club. 930 Club was where I saw MXPX, all these straight edge bands. Like 930 Club is like the Roxy in DC. It's
I was tremendous. I can only do one show, I could have sold out 2.
I can't
only
believe
did
you performed.
1.
Was it awesome?
Awesome. I think I'm going to go back. I think I want to go back.
You
and
should.
do 2.
You should.
That was perfect. That was
the
perfect.
930 Club is like one of the top 5 most like magical venues. The
Why?
most history. It's just that every great band, like rock band, kind of, it's like a rite of passage to play there. Like so much history has been made there.
And what's go-go music like? Like this
Go-go music is like, you can't not, like, you just can't, like, I don't give a fuck
love when
who
you dance.
I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't give a fuck who you voted for. I don't care what your bodily injuries are. When go-go comes on, you're just like, it unites us in a way. Like no one's like, oh, this shit. You know, everyone's so opinionated about music, but there's some kind of visceral. It's like you're rolling on E or something when you hear it. Like you can't not smile when it comes on. You know. It just like unites everybody. Whereas I feel like now music is like polarizing people. People are like, oh, I like this band, fuck that band. And you're like, Jesus, it's music. Like, when did we get so angry about music? You know? Dave Grohl did that show on HBO, and it was, what was it? I think I might be getting the name wrong, but it was like episodes of like music in different cities.
And did he go to 930?
Did one on DC, a whole thing on 930 Club, and like the DC music scene in the 80s. It's fucking awesome. It's awesome. And it kind of explains all that.
What was your childhood like?
I mean, obviously awesome.
Really?
No, I grew up in an alcoholic home.
Mom, dad?
Mom. And dad gone. You know, I don't talk a ton about my dad because I'm still kind of processing all of it. And I'm still really like protective of him. He was my hero. But, you know, being a man without money at that time with kids and complications, you know, you got to do a lot of sketchy shit, you know. So I actually have a lot of admiration for him. Whereas when I was younger, I was like, my dad lied to me. My dad didn't pick me up from school, and his mistresses picked me up from school, and he did all this fucked up shit. And like, I'm in a 12-step program now, but it's like, I now know like in my cells that like he did the best he could, and that being a man during that time and the way my grandfather raised him, like, you know, he just didn't have the tools. Like men back then weren't like, I have to hug my daughter and tell her how smart she is. Like he just didn't learn that, you know? And I like that he didn't raise me as if I was a girl, if that makes any sense. He kind of raised me like I was his son. You know, we were playing sports, we were playing basketball. You know, the time I did have with him, he was just like beating the shit out of me on the basketball court, making sure I was good, you know? And like slamming me with spelling words to make sure I was going to do well on the test. Like he didn't care if I liked him. He only wanted me to succeed in life. You know, he taught me a work ethic that was like next level.
You know, I'm the same way with Murphy.
Really?
I'm to the point where she's big into martial arts. She's really excelling over there.
That's awesome.
At the age of 5. I mean, she excels.
That's
she's one of those
crazy.
kids that excels at everything. Like she's good at the pool. They like her.
Well, that's because you probably don't coddle her when she doesn't achieve anything.
I try to raise her how my mother raised me. I was raised without a dad for a few years, so my mom had to play both hands of the fence. And when you see a woman do that, it's really hard. Mm-hmm. I respect it like you respect your dad today. I respect my mother for that smack in the head when I wouldn't get off the donkey on 86th Street and Broadway and shit like that. You know, like so I try to treat her the same way. The other night she clocked me in the face.
My mom smacked me in the face once.
I didn't smack her back. I just grabbed her and said, you can't do this. And I explained to her why. And I gave her a timeout. And she was very apologetic. And she wants to do good.
Yeah.
She's good. But I'm going to try to raise her the same way your dad raised you.
He would always say to me, I don't need you to like me. I'd be like, I hate you. And he's like, I don't care. He's like, I'm going to make it hard in here so it's easy out there.
How long ago did he pass?
2 years, year and a half.
You still think about him a lot?
Yeah, a lot. I'll start crying. Yeah, it was really fucked up. The story is too horrifying. I don't want to upset anybody.
No, I don't want to bring it out of you right now.
Yeah, but he was a badass, like Duke of Deception, warrior, you know, and...
was he a gangster?
He was what we just call like a white collar criminal. Like he would loan shark. Yeah, like we would have like really expensive paintings in our studio apartment, and you know, I got like an Acura when I turned 16. I'd get collateral. I would, you know, for Christmas when I was 8, I got like an engagement ring. Like, all right, like you know, he was and I think at the time I didn't understand how like magical his existence was, because I just wanted more of his time and I couldn't get it, you know, and because he was always gone and he'd leave for a day, but then I'll be back tomorrow, and I wouldn't see him for like a month, and then he'd come back with, you know, with all these incredible stories and gifts, and, you know, that was confusing for me, and he'd leave me in dangerous situations and stuff, which I think at the time he didn't understand how dangerous they were. So I'm still at the place in my life where I'm trying to delineate like anger around it and resentment around it, and just acceptance that like he did the best that he could, you know. But he was a motherfucker, and I'm grateful, because you have to be a motherfucker to survive
How is Mom's
world. Mom is, you know, I'm really grateful that she worked when I was a kid, because I saw how hard you have to work, and I'm grateful for that. But yeah, I mean, I have a lot of addiction in my family, a lot of it.
You said you were in a 12-step program.
I'm an Al-Anon, yeah.
And this is the one where you grew up around people who.
That's right.
Because
a lot of times
treated a certain way.
That's right, because when you grow up in an alcoholic home, you develop this overdeveloped sense of responsibility where you think you have to solve everybody else's problems. Because as a kid, you're the one making dinner, you're the one handling shit, you're the one, you know, we got to go to school, you're the one like organizing, you know, carpool. Like, I just had to be an adult way too young, and you also get addicted to adrenaline and excitement, you know. So even coming out of the womb, like I was already like. So you tend to recreate your childhood circumstances by seeking out broken people, other addicts, chaos, adrenaline, stuff like that, and then perfectionism, because I had to work so hard to get attention that the message I got was like, if you're not perfect, you're not worthy of love, you know. So that's, Al-Anon is like, you know, a lot about that. It's, you know, they say like in AA, you know, whereas addicts that use substances or alcohol are addicted to alcohol or cocaine, whatever, Al-Anons are addicted to people who are addicted to alcohol or cocaine or whatever.
Fuck ups.
Right. No, I mean, just addicted to the drama of like, I'm going to save you and I'm going to fix you and I'm going to...
it's going to work. You're the fucking dude in
if I just love you enough.
Less than zero.
And it's really, it's a martyr complex.
It really is.
We say the 3 M's.
It really is.
Mothering, martyring, micromanaging. That is
really
sort of what we end up having, which it's its own defect. Like, let people have the dignity of their own experience. It's like you have like a God complex. Like, you have to rescue everybody. And it's just like obnoxious. So
my mother was an alkie. My mother had a bar. So her alcoholism was based off her business. She thought like Bert. For her to sell drinks, you had to have drinks. So
Fair.
She would get there at 10 and start belting them out. I grew up around her cocaine, like in the 70s and late 60s. I would tell her to wipe her nose, like, you're fucking embarrassing me. Like, I still remember being 7 or 8 and going, Doug, wipe your fucking nose, will you? Yeah. I had it together, that I could say that, and she would apologize later on. And, you know, she was like, I do it once in a while. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Just keep your nose clean around me, you know. I grew up with that. It was funny because Monday I went to Mercy's school recital at 8:30 in the fucking morning. It was that night that I got home when I fucking couldn't fall asleep. You ever had those nights?
Yeah, every night.
You gotta be up somewhere, and it's her thing, and I wanted to look nice, and fucking all night long I thought I had to pee, and I would get up, take my dick out, no pee comes out. Why am I waking up? Why am I waking up at 4? No pee comes out. Then you go back, and then again
you're
something
high, you're cold, you check your phone, and you really can't sleep. Yeah, it's a nightmare.
And it was funny that I went to her thing, and I got a little high before I went that morning just to soothe it out, and I sat. I went to the kindergarten with her and read the book while my wife got the seat. So we wouldn't have to wait online like Studio 54. It was a huge line. So we got the seat. When I was sitting there watching my daughter, it's so funny. Wait till you have a kid, Whitney Cummings someday. And
we both done Miyagi's.
All this shit comes back in front of you.
And that's why I'm in Al-Anon, because I don't want to repeat the same shit.
Like all the shit that... So no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about while I'm sitting there. When she came out, I saw her like go like this. And when she saw me, her little face just melted and she just went. Like she can't wink with this eye, but she really tried to. And she looked at me, and my wife goes, she didn't even look at me. She doesn't give a fuck. But right away I thought about one time when it was my birthday. And in those days, my mom would get home. You know, I was 5 or 6. My mom would get home at 3:30 in the morning from New York, She would wake up with me, dress me, get me ready for school. But just from the smell and just from the look of her, I knew that,
Yeah.
That was as good as it was going to get. And I never questioned her. I liked walking to school by herself. Her being an alkie gave me the independence that I wanted.
Yeah.
Do you understand me?
I do like being alone. You being passed out at 2
Right.
is actually kind
Makes
of
me
convenient
kinda
for
nice.
me.
So
Most people want their parents to be passed out all day.
So I would go to school, and sometimes I'd come home for lunch, and she'd still be passed out. And sometimes I'd come home at 3, and now she'd have the house coat on, and she was making bets on the phone and numbers and figuring out what the score of the Mets game was. So I had a birthday party. It's my fucking birthday. I'm in kindergarten. I'm Spanish. Yeah. It's all white kids. Nobody really likes me. They don't know what a fucking Cuban is. And I'll never forget that at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, there was a knock on the door. And there was my mother with her little Puerto Rican buddy, and they were both fucked up already. You could see. And they came with 2 cases of Coke and cans and a Carvel ice cream cake. And I became the hero of the day. Like, I never forgot that
Carvel,
memory.
the whale. That's my shit.
Oh, shit.
She
brought the whale with happy
whale.
birthday. All those first graders at kindergarten went crazy. My mom was the favorite mom.
The hero.
Everybody's mother brings Kool-Aid. What the fuck? This lady showed up with 2 cans.
The Carvel bitch. Yeah.
2 cases of Cokes and cans and whatever. And I'll never forget that memory. Like that, I was good with my mom after that. If she never did anything else ever again, I was good with that simple memory of her showing up at 2 o'clock, hungover as fuck. You could already tell she had a shot of something. Because in the morning, she would wake up with Heineken and tomato juice. Ooh. She would do 3 or 4 of those. Those were her breakfast. Then an egg, and then wherever the day took her. We got to go to the Met game, so let's get going. She'd stop at a liquor store so she could do sips all the way up. But she was functioning.
Yeah.
Your mom functioning?
Highly. And it's interesting because I think for me, like, my family had very good there was this illusion of affluence, like you don't know you're poor until you go to someone else's house, right? You know what I mean? But we lived in Georgetown and DC, and it was this like ostensibly really fancy area, but like then there was the eviction notice, and that, like, I remember there was, I haven't thought about this in a long time, but when you talked about school, I carry just like embarrassment with me all the time. Like I'm like, hey, sorry. I always think I have something in my teeth. I always think I'm like embarrassing myself in some way. Whenever I like say hi to someone or talk to someone, I'm like, oh, why did you just say that? That was so stupid. I just like beat myself up. And I always think there's some kind of like elaborate like prank going on. It's like a paranoia. And remind me to tell you my Ari Shaffir story about that in a minute, how it like perfectly collided with this paranoia I have the time he hid my backpack at the Comedy Store and I went crazy because I thought that my worst fear was actually confirmed. I'll tell you about that in a second. But one time I remember I got pulled out of class and because the tuition wasn't paid for the school, and they put like a note on my shirt. It was like a safety pin, and it was a little note. And it said like, a note to my parents saying you have to pay this. And I could read, I guess, at that time, and I didn't. And it was like a scarlet letter almost. Like I wore it around. I think it was a Catholic school, as if there already wasn't enough like shame and embarrassment. And I remember like having to wear it around. Like why? And I think about that now, and I'm like, why? Is that legal? Like I can't believe a school would do that. Like I can't believe they didn't just wait till the end of the day to do it. But I remember having to walk around all day, and everyone's like, "What's that sign?" Like, "Oh, you didn't pay your tuition. You guys are poor." And everyone was just like making fun of the fact that I was poor and that I didn't pay the tuition, and I had to go from school to school because the tuition wasn't paid and all that. But little things like that were just like, oh, this does a number on a psyche, because I just from then on was always so embarrassed. But I think on some level it did make me funny, because I felt like I always had to entertain kids to make friends. I always had to be more entertaining than I was embarrassing or something. I had to like earn my seat at the table. So I started being funny, because I think that there was also so much stuff I had to hide in my family. I had to hide the mess. I had to hide the
mama's things, dad's
the
shit.
thing, and someone's passed out, and this, and the kids haven't eaten, and there's no food in the fridge, and I always had to make up stories, and I had to basically lie, be like, oh no, like look at the silly monkey, and like distract people when friends would come over, So I think that being funny very much was like a sort of device that I developed in order to like play defense on other people's perception of what was going on in my home, And I also thought I had to be funny because I thought, oh, my mom drinks because I'm not interesting enough. Like as a kid, you just make whatever assumption, doesn't accuse the parent because it's too traumatic on a psyche to say like my parent is a mess, because then you just feel too unsafe. So you actually just go, oh, I must suck, because you don't want to blame your parent as such a young child. You just don't know better, right? So I remember just going, if you're just funny and entertaining. So I used to put on Jerry Seinfeld records and memorize them and then go out and do the jokes for my mom, like while she was like doing things. I'd be like, hey, so Florida, eventual left. Like I would just go try to do jokes and make her laugh. And like I would put on costumes and stuff. I just thought that was like, oh, this will fix it. If I can just make her laugh, she won't need to drink.
And this was the beginnings of your stand-up.
Kind of.
These are the roots of your stand-up. This pain, this comedy, this embarrassment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that we all have that pain, and then we make it funny so it doesn't sting as much.
Have to.
That's amazing that you put that safety pin on
That's
your
funny.
wrist to never.
This actually is so. I just put it together right now. It's just serendipitous that it matches the story. When I was a kid, I used to play with safety pins. We didn't have a lot of like toys, and I played with cosmetics, which is kind of sinister. I'd go to like the CVS, which was called People's Drug at the time in DC. And I'd go and I'd like save up money and I'd go buy like lotion or whatever. Because I learned from my mom, you always have to look a certain way, and I have compassion for around that. We're kind of in this place in society where like women aren't supposed to objectify themselves and whatever. Like, my mother did not learn that. She is from Texas. She learned you always got to like be on point. You got to be glossy. You got to have the eyes shut. You got to do. So her bathroom was all products, So I just learned like it's all about. I was putting like anti-aging cream on when I was like 7. I was like, I was 7 and I looked 4, and so I would like play with my little sort of products and stuff. And that's kind of what I did. It's just But when my parents would fight, I had these little safety pins and I would I'd open it, and it wasn't like self-mutilation or anything. I would just sort of prick myself just as a weird little way to distract myself. And I always forgot about that. And then I got the tattoo of it. Like had a surgery and I was on a painkiller and I was like, I'm going to go get a tattoo of the safety pin I used to play with as a kid. I thought it was like a really poignant thing. And now I'm kind of like, oh God, I always forget that it's there.
You're an interesting woman, man.
Really?
Fuck yeah.
Oh,
so
God.
now you're here, you're rocking and rolling. Who gave you the right to write a script and sell it to CBS? Which one came first, Whitney or Two Broke Girls?
They were kind of simultaneous. I had written the show for NBC, The Whitney Show, for Chris D'Elia and I. So we became friends just through doing...
Which you are the cutest couple in the world. How you two motherfuckers ain't married in the first couple of comedy? If I was you, I'd marry D'Elia just to call up Brad Pitt's ex-wife and call her a dirty cunt. You got nothing on me. Take a look at me and Chris D'Elia in our prime, and you and Brad.
You.
Meanwhile, Brad was fucking other people, so you had nothing, Angelina. So go fuck yourself and just hang up on it.
I think so much of why Chris and I love each other so much is that we haven't dated. That sometimes brings out the worst in people. I think it brings out the worst in me because I get insecure, I get fearful, I get So I think so much of the our relationship has to do with the fact that we didn't soil it with that messy shit, and get a bunch of feelings involved. But we had such a good time together, and I wanted to write a show about a couple that had been together for a while and kind of a gender reversal. There was a lot of this on TV. Every fucking female character was obsessed with getting married, and I was just who are these people? Who writes these characters? It's just not my experience. I saw 7 divorces by the time I was 12 years old. I heard people screaming and vases flying and shit. And I was just why would anyone want to get divorced? I was married. I was very repelled by the idea. So I kept having relationships fail because I'd be I don't want to get married. I'd love to stay with you, but I'm not signing anything. So I just saw that marriage caused a lot of problems. That was like a really big message that I got as a kid, like the blueprint. And I wanted to write a show about it and about how the guy did want to get married. He came from a healthy environment and she came from a really, twisted, sick environment, and like how to make that work. And can you love each other unconditionally? And also I'm just in general obsessed with opposites, like the idea of, can you love someone that voted differently than you? I feel like when I watch the news today, I worry the answer is no. Like, we're in this place where, like, if you don't agree with someone on everything, you can't even be in the same room together, which that's not healthy. We've gotten to a pretty fucked up place, I think. So,
I mean, if I love you, I don't give a fuck if you voted for Hitler.
Yeah.
If I love you, you voted for Hitler. What am I going to do? I still love you.
That's what I love about you. I never know what you're going to do.
You're still a piece of ass. You know what I'm
You're
saying?
so spontaneous.
So what? She fucking voted for Hitler. What am I going to do? You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get mad at her.
I love the idea of just picturing Hitler running for office.
Can you imagine that?
No, I can't.
What
is that?
Fuck Trump.
I don't think this is his thing.
Whatever. Peace. I think so. I think he would come out one
I don't think that's it. I think
if he made a comeback now,
this would be his new thing.
Yeah, he'd come out like this, peace. Fucking the whole thing.
Democrat.
Right, yeah, maybe. Anyway, so it was about that. And it was also like, I grew up on sitcoms. Like, my sitcoms raised me. Television was my parent growing up. And that's good on some level, but bad on other levels, I guess, the messaging I got. But I missed that, like, shows had these little, like, human moments, like I loved the show Mad About You. And I loved how the whole episode would just be about, like, you put the spoon on the hardwood and you should have put it on the napkin, and what that brings out in people, something tiny. And every show I'm watching, it's like, the White House is on fire. Like, all the plots for every show had to be so big, and it just didn't feel relatable. And I just missed that kind of, like, everyday pedestrian humor and how universal that is, right? So I just wanted to write a show that's about a couple just navigating little stuff like that. And I wrote it for me and Chris. I gave him a copy of it. He didn't even read it. Did not read it. He's like, yo, I'll get to it. This is, by the way, before fucking Instagram, where he had time to read it. Like, we were maybe on MySpace or something, but he like wouldn't read it. He like didn't like, how many times do you get a script from a comic where you're just
Did you read it? Yeah,
I read it. Yeah, I loved it. It's like the blank vitae. It's why Chelsea made, and then it got picked up by NBC, and I had to audition with a bunch of actors that were like this tall, that looked 15. I looked like a giant pedophile. Like, it was like they made me audition a bunch of people, and I kept going like, I really want Chris. And he came in. I'll never forget it. I was like, this is the guy, because we couldn't find a guy that was like alpha enough for me. Like, I instantly just seemed like their aunt. Like, whenever a male actor in LA would walk in, because they're all shaved everywhere and just, like all of it, the hairline and the tan, like everyone's in tanning and shit. And it felt weird. And so we're like, we got to find an actor who would actually look like he could. I didn't want to be like the top, you know what I mean? Someone where I was the beta that could actually like put me in my place. And we were having a hard time finding that, because I didn't want to be like cutting anyone's balls off. It's not a good look, I didn't want to come off like shrill and aggressive and annoying. And Chris came, I was like, this guy's so alpha. He's like, this is back when Chris was married, I think, but it was still like girls would just like go nuts for him. Right. And like, he's got swagger and he's kind of silent and, tall, dark and handsome. And I was like, he's the guy. He comes in neon pink Converse sneakers. And I was just like, fuck. Like, the guy that I just told everyone, straight as an arrow, alpha male. He's like, this is going to be perfect. And I was like, God, shit. Like, the high top ones, they almost look like little leggings, like little Robinhood men in tights. Like, they were all up on his ankle and shit. But he, of course, killed it and, made it happen. But that was, and then Michael Patrick King, who wrote Sex and the City, was looking for someone to make a sitcom with. And he was talking to a bunch of, because he started as a stand-up, actually. He used to go on the road with Dom Herrera.
Wow.
Michael Patrick King. He has the most amazing stories about how one night Dom Herrera, because, he didn't have any money for food or anything. And one night Dom Herrera slid some spaghetti under his hotel room door, or through his door. But there was no fork. So Tom gave him like this little thing of spaghetti, like somewhere outside Philly where they were touring, and he just had to sit there in a hotel room and eat spaghetti with his hands. But it was still the nicest.
That's the way it is on the road.
There's
no fork.
There's no fork.
Fuck it.
Yep. And anyway, and then I went in, and I mean, Michael Patrick King was like, he did Sex and the City, which, for me, it was just kind of a big deal because
I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
I learned very early on that women should be competitive with women. That's what I learned. I think that's what happens when you have a dad who cheats and you see a mom who's freaking out and who's that and da. And Sex and the City was therapeutic for me because it just showed me women getting along. And I just needed to see that because I had a sister and we didn't get, and my mom, and it just was tricky. So it was just therapeutic for me in a lot of ways. Anyway, so he was taking all these meetings. I went in, I had like $600. I went to Neiman Marcus in Beverly Hills and I bought a pair of Christian Louboutin shoes because he had done Sex and the City, the show with all the fancy clothes and the fancy shoes. So I went, Louboutins, the red bottoms are very important.
Right.
I went and bought a pair of Christian Louboutins. I drove to the Warner Brothers parking lot and they were in the car next to me and I put them on, but I put tape on the bottoms so that the red wouldn't, because I was going to return them. I just bought them just for the meeting. And then I go into the meeting, I go to the bathroom, I take the tape off. We sit down, I cross my legs so he can see the red bottom, so I'm trying to impress him. And I don't know why I thought that would get me a writing job. I just so badly didn't want him to know how broke I was. I wanted him to think that I was like successful in making it or whatever. Exactly. Yeah. And then we had the meeting. It was interesting. I wasn't prepared for how funny he was because, we're comics. I was like, oh, I'm going to kill this meeting. And then he was like really quick and funny. And I was like, oh, shit. It kind of threw me off. I didn't know he was a comic, And so I was sort of thrown off by the fact that he was funny. And it was like almost like this Penn and Teller situation where I was like, oh, shit. I just wasn't talking because I was panicked. And then I pitched a couple things that I think he liked. And on the way out, I knew I had bombed the meeting. And I closed the door and then I popped back in and I said to him, hey, I know you're not going to give me this job, but just please have me at the table, read it, I'll punch up the script. And I closed the door and that was it. And then I went and I took the shoes off and I walked barefoot to my car and I went to Neiman Marcus to return the shoes for that. I needed that $600 back. And then he asked for a second meeting and I was really prepared the second time. And he gave me the job and he's like, I knew you had to have the job when you said to me, I know you're not going to give me the job, but just have me come in and do punch up on it. And he's like, I knew you had just the perfectly low amount of self-esteem to where you would be funny and be able to do this.
Not that you were one of the creators.
Yeah, we created it together.
I thought you had based it off of your experiences.
Both of us. Yeah, both of us. Yeah, it was both of us. So the Kat Dennings character, Kat, is very much kind of my background and his too, we kind of made these two characters, morph them based on our back. Because him and I are very similar. He grew up, very similar than I did, so similarly than I did. And we created these two characters and sort of built the show. And I think people responded to it because it was about money. It wasn't two girls being like, did he call me back? We need to get makeovers. Meh. It was two girls how are we going to pay our taxes? We don't have this money. How are we going to get our teeth fixed? We don't have health insurance. It was
real relatable. I watched a couple episodes. Relatable.
I mean, look,
I thought it was about you. I thought it was very semi-biographical. Mm-hmm. I thought, in my mind, I'm like, Whitney must have been a waitress in New York at a diner. I didn't know about it.
Yeah, no, I had a lot of that is, it was so many of the stories because when I first moved out to LA, I had, no money. So funny. The other day I was on a TV set and one of the sound guys said that he had used to work at Pink Dot. And he's like, yeah, I used to work at Pink Dot. And I was like, oh, God, you know so much about me. And he's like, yeah, I do. Because I used to go into Pink Dot on Sunset, which is right next to the Comedy Store. I lived right up on Miller Drive. Before I even got spots at the Comedy Store, I would just drive around because I wanted to live near the Comedy Store because I was like, I want to be able to walk there every night. And so it might have even been before I ever did stand-up. And I got an apartment right up Miller Drive. You go Last Standing on Sunset, right up there. Got an apartment right there. And so I would go to Pink Dot every night and I had $15. Usually I was hovering about $15 for a couple of years. And I would go into Pink Dot and I would buy Oberto turkey jerky because you could eat it for a couple days, when you sort of have this illusion that you're actually eating when you're not. And it got so gross that I started buying maple syrup and putting maple syrup on it. Oh. And so I would every 3 days go to Pink Dot and I would buy Oberto turkey jerky. I can't believe I'm telling you this. And maple syrup. And the guy would just be like, the look in his eye was just like, do you need help? should we call like child services? Like, should we like do a food drive for you? And I would see the sort of pain in his face about it. And I would get like protein bars, like I would show up with like quarters and I'd be like, how many can I get and then I have to pull something away. I'd say like, can I get 2 of these? And I didn't have enough. And I go, okay, I guess just 1 of these. And he used to watch it and he like gave me this huge hug. Like this was like 3 weeks ago.
It's crazy how those struggles you'll never ever forget.
Never.
Like I still remember living across from, not Chibo.
Chibo and Sunset.
No,
Poinsettia.
down more. Down 2 blocks. What's the Brazilian place?
Lala's.
No. Lala's. If you stay on Sunset, you hit
Bossa
Ralph's.
Nova?
Bossa Nova. I used to live across the street from Bossa Nova if you went down.
No.
And I remember waking up there broke. Just waking up, hungover from the store, broke. I would get up, brush my teeth, take a shower.
Was the store paying $15 a spot back then?
15 a spot. You hustled Mexican rooms. Felipe Esparza, all those
Oh, yeah,
cats,
yeah.
George Perez. They all had rooms all over. So you could do 2 rooms, pick up $1.25
Yeah.
here, 40
that's
here,
good.
60 here. But I still remember walking on Sunset across from, what's the big Israeli restaurant?
Aroma.
Aroma. I love that place.
Across from Aroma was a gas station. And his name was like Jaime. And Jaime was a one-man operation. He would come out and check your oil and pump. So I'd always stand by the shadows, and I would always wait for him to go out and pump gas. And I'd run in, stick my hand behind the counter, and take a pack of cigarettes, whatever they were, Winstrol,
Sure.
menthol, whatever the fuck it was. That was my shot.
Nope.
Maybe if I got lucky, I could take Marlboro, and I would take a soda and a bag of like, what were you talking about the other night? Those onion things?
Onion.
Some Funyuns, yeah.
Funyuns.
Oh, those are good.
Those are my breakfast.
Yeah.
That was it. Walking on Sunset, and then I go to Josh Wolf's house, and hopefully he would make turkey burgers. He used to buy frozen turkey burgers, and I go over there for lunch, help him do dishes, watch the kids, and we eat frozen fucking turkey burgers. If I got any money at all, I would go to Wendy's, and they had the dollar menu,
Yep.
and I would get the chili and the baby junior,
Like
whatever. That was it.
those little, yeah.
The cheeseburger and the chili.
But that's
it.
They were all stories that we ended up putting in Two Broke Girls. Like when I first moved out here, I started doing focus group testing. They say, hey, for $50, you
Yeah.
show up and you
2 hours.
tell us what you think of this night cream or this
Yeah.
whatever. And I remember I would do them for like Neutrogena. Like they send you the product like a week in advance and you use it for like a week and then you show up and they give you cash, So it's think about the kind of person who's showing up for cash, $50, it's me and a bunch of like meth heads, it's people that need cash. Like they don't want to check. They might not even have a bank account. And I don't ever have a bank account because I would get those overcharge fees. So I couldn't, because I kept getting fucked on those. You have $7, you do an overcharge, and then they charge you $50 or something. So I would just keep cash in an envelope, I remember, and I go to those focus groups. And one time I was doing one, and I guess I just I wanted to do a good job, like I was a dork, and it was like a face scrub like machine, that you scrub your face with, and I was psyched because I was getting like free shit on top of it. And I remember being in the focus group one day, and they're like, so what did everyone think? And everyone's like, we loved it. Great. Can we get our cash? And I was like, I feel like if the handle was just, like, I was like actually trying to like do a good job, and everyone would just be like, this bitch. Like everyone hated me because everyone just want to get their cash and get the fuck out of there, So I would do that. I would do like clinical trials. I used to do Buffalo Exchange, the store Buffalo Exchange.
Yes.
You go, you take your clothes and you try to sell them. You can get, sometimes
Did you sell your eggs?
So I haven't sold my eggs. I did.
knew a chick who sold her eggs, and she ended up crazy.
I was thinking about
she
it.
sucked like 80 dicks, and they had a
Jesus.
restrainer.
For selling her eggs?
Yeah, she went crazy because they put her on some. She was a waitress.
Oh, because the hormone shots.
She was a waitress at the Laugh Factory, and she was very nice, but she was a fan of the Comedy Store. So I'll never forget. She was a young girl, and she would come to the Comedy Store and
You can
talk
get
to
good
all
money
of
for your eggs.
We would just talk to her at the store, and she liked doing drugs. She smoked pot. So one night she came to the store, and she's like, who has an 8-ball up in this motherfucker? And I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, I want to buy an 8-ball. I go, hold on. Chewy, sell her an 8-ball. And I go, where'd you get the money? She goes, I hit the jackpot. I've been selling my eggs and all this shit.
Those 8-ball eggs.
Those 8-ball eggs. So we went over to fucking that hotel across the street from the Rouse. Mm-hmm. That's under renovation. This is when it was Hooker Central.
I know, now it's like a vegan
So
place.
we would go to Pink Dots, get a case of beer,
Yep.
and run over there. She paid for the hotel.
Wow.
And like 3 of us stayed up all night doing coke, but she kept telling us how she was selling her eggs and they were giving her this. But then she didn't stop. I guess you're supposed to stop selling your eggs. You do them once or twice. I don't know exactly. I don't want to get in trouble.
You have to get crazy
I don't want to get in
hormone
trouble.
shots.
Right. And the hormone shots put her over the fucking top. Like she ended up robbing the Laugh Factory. She escaped with a comic. You know, she got knocked up. And then she mugged him.
Oh, yeah.
And they left him tied up in a room. So I'm not kidding you. I wish I was kidding you. I forget who the comic was. This chick disappeared.
I like her. I like
Cops
this
came
girl.
around like a month later asking questions about her. She went
That's pretty
off
badass.
the fucking rails. On
Is she
those.
still around?
No, I haven't. This is 2003, 2004. People do weird shit here.
Like, I just love the idea of these waitresses or managers, these people that are around for 2 years, 10, 15 years ago, who saw the most epic shit, who are like now, in Bakersfield, married, have a normal life. And you're like, shit that would just be like a #1 best-selling book. But they're just living normal lives somewhere else. People that get in comedy and then they get out.
Did you ever walk through the Comedy Store? Like, I was just thinking about this the other day. If you ever walk up to the Comedy Store, if you go up to Mitzi's office, before you get to Mitzi's office, there's an office. And that office used to be her accountant.
Really?
And supposedly when he quit, he had a tell-all story about Mitzi. And the Shores had to pay him down. Something weird. I don't know I forget the guy's name. I brought up to somebody like, yeah, we remember.
Where is that guy?
Like he had like Harvey Weinstein type shit when the store.
Like,
wherever
if you're listening, sir, you're welcome on the podcast anytime.
Who, Harvey?
No, this accountant guy.
Oh, yeah. I think he died. There was a couple guys that were giving her trouble. The guy that ran La Jolla was down there for a long time. And towards the end, he did some interview. And once she started getting paranoid like that, she started icing people. Then he got iced for writing the book. Then they paid him off. Then he died. Then his wife showed up with the book. Shit. And they had to pay the wife. Something weird. I don't know all the fucking story. And those are just tell-all stories. That it's funny when you meet people on the road and they're like, I lived in L.A. for 3 years. Right. And you're like, what did you do on that?
I was Mitzi's assistant and you're like.
No, I bumped into somebody who was somebody big's assistant on a show. Like, not their assistant,
Love it.
He worked on a show. And I bumped into him this year in Kansas City, and he was like, I fucking hated it. If I ever see that guy again, I will fucking kill him. Because you think of now what you did at that age.
Yeah.
You think about what shit you took from people at that age. Like the first 10 years I was here, I kept my mouth shut. I pretty much kept my mouth shut. I didn't say shit. If I went to a set and you said something to me, even though it was a little bit offensive, I would brush it off. And then once I stopped doing drugs, I said, before I was a comic, I'm a man, so you gotta treat me like a man. And I went on a set one night to do a Hardee's commercial. Hardee's Carl's Jr. commercial. And we had a shoot in fucking Long Beach. And it was an SUV, and there was 2 mafia guys. We pull over, and when we go to fucking see the guy's already been shot. But he hasn't been shot. He just ate an Arby's fucking Carl's Jr. chicken parmesan sandwich, which will kill you anyway.
I was to say.
Blood will just come right out of your ass. And when he bit into it, the blood hit his shirt. So when we get to the car, he just nods. So the other guy says to me, "Aniento, lagadento," and then we get the fuck out of there. That was the commercial. So we had a shoot in Long Beach. And that was the first time ever that I came back into being myself. When I realized that I had been in LA too long. Yeah. It doesn't really matter what comes out of your mouth, as long as you're a great comic. But stick to your guns.
That's right.
Stick to your guns. Show people. Because we live in a town that if you do open your mouth, they say you're trouble to work with. If you say, excuse me, I grew up in New York and nobody would use this word. You think I could use this? To go, no, use it as it's written. And you're like,
it's a period, not a comma.
I'm not using it. I'm doing this way. And then they'll stop and say, are you a problem to work with? No, I'm just giving you the best I can.
Yeah.
Are you from New York, bitch? No, you're from fucking Kentucky.
That's
I'm
right.
born and raised in New York. What the fuck are you talking about? This is the word. When I did the Luis Guzman project, me and the director were almost at blows over a word that I said, Mexicans, Puerto Ricans don't use that word.
It's also like, I'm helping you.
I'm helping you.
You're going to get credit for the thing I'm doing.
I'm
Why would you
helping
want to?
Yeah, I call him
ego.
amigo. Amigo. That's a Mexican word. I
Yeah.
go, Puerto Ricans on 150 street don't say amigo. I mean, dog, the next day I got there, and Luis Guzman and the director and like the EP were like, I hear yesterday you were troublesome to work with. I go, no, I just recommended a line the same way I did at the audition.
Yep.
The line I said that you stole from me and put it on yourself because I went at the audition improvised.
Yeah.
You stole it. I figured I'd use the line. And they're like, no, it's ended with that. Don't bring it up no more. And I go, okay. At the pilot shoot, I still didn't say amigo. You know me, dog. You got the wrong motherfucker. I said the word I thought it was supposed to be. It was like primo.
Turns into like a power play.
After the show, the director came up to me and looked me in the face, and he's like, you know what? I'm slated to shoot 3 pilots at Fox next year. If I see your headshot, I'll rip them all up. And I looked at him like, oh, fuck. Like, I didn't say it.
Cool.
Well, guess what? The show got picked up, and it got fired. It got taken down after 4 episodes because Fox has no time for that shit. And 3 nights later, who do I see at the Comedy Store? But the director. And when he saw me, he just stopped in his tracks. And I looked at him and I go, if you would have used the word I told you, your show would have still been on TV, asshole. And he just froze and looked at me and just eyeballed me till I went into the original room.
It's,
and that
you know,
was
it's
it.
so, it's like the only people I trust are comics. Like when I have comics come in and do shows, I'm like, just let them do.
Let them do that.
Comics, no. Comics, it's like you cannot. Yes, some people have bad behavior. That's not what that was. Like we're in the field. We're doing the field research for you. We're making your life easier. Like let us come in and tell you what works and what doesn't. Like we have that gut instinct, you know. Like
you ever work with Adam Sandler?
The best.
Have you ever seen anything like that? Have you ever seen anybody who goes, "This is the line, but do what you do"?
Literally, he's the most, and he's like, I hired you here because I think you're the best person.
Yeah.
I'm now going to leave you alone and let you shine.
You've never seen anything like that in your life.
This guy, nobody works harder than this guy. We did a movie in New Mexico, one of his Netflix movies. He was in a Native American.
Santa Fe?
I think so.
How great was that hotel, Santa Fe?
That one that with the pool in the middle, gorgeous.
With the
What's
Indians,
it called?
With the flute, the dude with the flute.
It's like a resort.
A resort, yeah. Tremendous.
Gorgeous.
Tremendous.
The air is like, food's amazing. I'm with Swartzen, and it's just a blast. And so we're on set. Adam is the star of the movie. He's in a Native American Indian costume, the hat, the thing, the whole thing. And he's like running around placing extras. He's reading the script for his next movie. He's like pitching jokes. Like I've never seen anything like it.
Nothing like it. And
nothing.
He gives you 3 options, and if your joke makes it, that's the joke they go with.
Yeah.
With me,
no ego.
I would not. After the 3rd week, I finally stopped looking at the scenes because it didn't really matter.
No, and then we would do.
It didn't really matter.
We'd do the scene, yeah, and then if it wasn't, he'd go, "Oh, let's just change it. What do you want to do there? What do you think?
There?
Do you have a joke there? Like, do you want? Let's call. Like, it was just the most fun, collaborative. It was like doing, just a little fucking web video, like fucking around, and they're like, "Oh, millions of people are gonna watch this." Like he. It's not. It doesn't feel like a big production with a bunch of pressure. There's no executives around. It's like all his friends.
Yeah, that's why he shoots out. He shoots out for the first 6 or 7, so he gets a grip going. Then he comes back for 3 or 4. White people show up. He's nice to them.
It was Lovitz and Schneider and all his friends.
And that's the easiest way to do a fucking movie.
The most loyal. It's great.
I did a locker room scene with him when I was 400 pounds, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, one of my favorite movies is Major League.
Yeah.
The Cuban guy in Major League wore a jock. And I said, what if I would wear a jock? And I'll never forget, he was talking to these 2 white kids from Syracuse, with suits on, VPs of entertainment somewhere. I go, Adam. And the dudes are like, and Adam's like, hold on. What's up, Joey? I go, listen, for this locker room scene, I want to wear a thong. He's like, what? I want to wear a thong like Serrano did in Major League. And he's like, hold on. And the people like, he can't. The ratings. No, he won't, because it was either R-rated or PG. What did it say up there? I can't see. It was either R-rated.
I think it's probably PG-13.
Yeah. So they were like, we don't know if you could leave your dick out. And I'm like, I'm not going to leave my dick out. I'm just a jock strap. I'm fat fuck with a jock strap. And they kept yelling at Adam and Bernardi. The executive producer's name was Michael Bernardi. And they kept saying, we don't think this is right. And Adam looked me straight in the face and he goes, go for it. And they were like, and this is what I did. I made the fucking guys come around me. They took my clothes off right in front of everybody in the locker room and put the jock on. Balls ass naked. I didn't give a fuck. Adam loved me even more for that. He was like, that's tremendous.
Brave.
He scared all these
Can I
people.
tell you, I had a dog bite my ear off. It was like 2 years ago. Came off, hanging down, had to get it sewn back on. I go to like a Hollywood, it was like some Hollywood party, like I couldn't not go, and I still had the injury, I still had it wrapped, and it was a whole thing, and I had like a Santa hat on. I just showed up in a Santa hat, like no one will know, like no big deal. And someone there knew and made like a scene of it, like Whitney got her ear bitten off by a dog, and I was like, oh shit. So it was like everybody at the party like knew about it, like all these like Hollywood people. And I'm kind of talking about it, and I'm on painkillers and this whole thing, and I actually ended up leaving the party kind of early because I was embarrassed. It's weird. I find like as a comic, like when I'm on stage, I'm super comfortable with attention, obviously, but at social events, like I'm not great. I get awkward, and I don't want a lot of attention. If I'm not doing stand-up, I actually don't love attention. I get weird and uncomfortable, and I don't like being the center of attention if I don't have something to offer back. I just get confused. And anyway, so I left the party. The next day, I mean, there were maybe 200 people at the party. They all knew about it. I get an email from Adam Sandler. Hey, are you okay? Is there anything I can do? How's your ear? Like, he didn't have to do that. Like he saw through the bit of like, oh, it's fine. And I was like sort of trying to minimize it and making jokes and stuff. And he like sends me an email the next day to ask me if he can do anything. Like it meant so much to me. It was just such a human thing to do.
He's a different dude. I still get Christmas cards from him.
I'm like, why did
I don't get invited to the Christmas parties no more because I caused havoc one year.
The one with the ice skating and the bowling.
And the bowling.
What did you do?
It doesn't matter.
Do people know? I mean, for your listener, this is a party that is like, it's like when I first moved to LA, it was like the party. Like you had to go to the. And
I could still go. I just don't.
The Happy Madison Christmas.
Yeah.
Stephen Dorff is there.
Yeah.
All the
tremendous.
fucking David Spade is there. Like that's like Hollywood.
Food,
and you go and it's like
bowl.
It's like a mall.
Yeah.
And there's bowling, there's ice skating, there's like, and every executive, like everyone in Hollywood's there. You have to like check in, like you're going to a fucking Lakers game, like it's a big deal. And the fact that you were too rowdy to go back.
No, I wasn't rowdy. I some shit went down, and obviously since I was 5 feet from it, I took the blame. Like right away, like I was the one that was involved in it. Like something happened, a misunderstanding with two broads over bowling shoes. You know me, I don't know nothing. I took my wife. I was there with my wife.
It's weird.
So it was just really weird. I didn't get along with one of his executive producers. Like I got along with Michael Bernardi. I loved Adam. Adam was my dog.
So
but
nice.
One of the producers he had was not his producing partner anymore. Me and him had beef, so it was rough on the long and short. But he put me in a couple more movies after that. Yeah. Always giving me nice respect. Yeah. Always been a great guy. I see him maybe once every 18 months at the store. He stops. He gives me a hug. I don't ask him for nothing.
Loved his special.
I could write a letter. Yeah. Bro, it's not bad.
Yeah.
I watched it finally, like for the first 20 minutes. But he's all talent, guys.
I was just like, it was also just like, I'm dancing, I'm laughing, I'm like.
Oh, they gave him $15 million too. So I'd be up there dancing, singing, banging a fucking drum. I'd be doing everything.
But it was just like, and look, and my next special is definitely very like, there's a lot of heavy shit in it, whatever. But it's like, I think the days of just like innocent comedy are starting to kind of, now it's like you got to make a statement, you have to make a political statement, you have to like move the needle on social progress, you can't say this, you can't. It was just kind of nice to watch a special that was just like, we're here to laugh, I'm not here to lecture you, I'm not here to yell at you, like I'm just here to make you laugh and enjoy. I was dazzled. It was like I felt like a kid watching it. The
last time you were on Rogan was when?
3 months.
And before that, when was it?
Yeah, like every 6 months.
It was weird because I don't know if it was his last one or the one before. You spoke about the transition you had made in your life. You had gone through a big transition. I don't know if you went to therapy. You were talking about how when you went to a place and somebody gave you a gift, you would have a hard time. Like, why is this person giving me a gift?
Receiving.
Drives me crazy. Drives me crazy.
If you give me a gift, if I even let you give it to me, I have to wait till you leave to even open it.
It drives me crazy. And then you realize that you are providing us. Like today, we got 3 great posters. Somebody sent 3 great Clint Eastwood posters. Italian fucking.
That's beautiful.
Like one like that. Ari got me that one because he knows that's my favorite movie of all time. But this guy sent me Italian versions of it. 3 of them. So I'm going to get them framed in New York next week. I have my brother frame them. What were we talking about?
The gifts. Getting gifts.
When I watched that podcast, I was going through a lot. Right before the Netflix special, something happened to me. I don't know what it was. Something happened to my stand-up. I had spoken to you one day, and we spoke about flappers and how we couldn't do material at the store, and I was I was happy with my Netflix set, but I wasn't. Something was missing, and then the day of, it didn't matter. It all went away like 2 weeks after I shot the Netflix special, and that's when you were on the podcast. And I watched what you were going through, and it was like I was going through the same shit you were going through. I was going through because it is the gift of acceptability. Accepting what's going on. Mm-hmm. Sometimes this moves quick.
Yeah.
And your mind don't have the process, the time. You know, 1 minute you're at the store, the next minute you're on a lot with Christopher Walken at CBS.
Yeah.
And somebody's asking you, what do you want, mint tea or lemon mint tea from Europe with a lime of twist? And you're like,
what are you talking about?
I was at the store last night talking about eating some fucking midget's asshole. And now I'm here with Christopher Walken and you're asking me if I want tea. You know what I'm saying? You know how much of a... Do you have any idea how much of a shift that is? That people, and I'm not putting anybody down, but it's not like one day you're working on a construction job, and the next day Trump comes on your job.
Yeah,
it's or Trump or somebody who you're a fan of. So for us, sometimes this moves just a little bit too fast, and we gotta slow it down. Thank God that you yourself and your higher power or whoever you're depending on puts the brakes on. One day when you're on the 101 and you're about to get off Laurel Canyon in 2 miles and you're like, why is there 2 Laurel Canyon exits? But there's really just 1 in 2 miles. I wasn't accepting things. I wasn't accepting the Netflix special. I couldn't accept why I was selling out shows.
Yeah.
I couldn't accept the fact that Whitney wants to take a fucking picture of me at the Comedy Store. I can't accept the fact that this guy, not Lee, I'm saying this guy just came up to me, had tears in his eyes, and said, because of me and Whitney talking about her dad and my mom, or my mom and her mom being alkies, their life changed. You can't wrap your arms around that shit. When somebody hugs you and says, hey man, that conversation you and Whitney had fucking made me go to Al-Anon. And you're like...
I wrote a book, and in it I talk about my struggles with addiction and eating disorders and blah, 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 all this stuff. And yeah, now I have people coming up to me like, I read your book and now I'm in a thing and I got out of an abusive relationship. And I just am like, it's hard because it's so much pressure in that moment because they need so much from you or they need some kind of reaction from you and you don't want to reject them or ice them or be awkward or go like, set a bad example of not being able to receive. So it's so hard when it happens in airports.
It happens. It happens a lot.
And you're just like, thank you so much. Like, and I don't know what to say. And I feel this shame come up and this embarrassment and this, like, I don't deserve this. I can't receive this.
I was having the same
But if you really knew me, and it's imposter syndrome of like, if you really knew me.
If you really knew me that I ate honey on maple syrup on top
of a midget's asshole,
you wouldn't be taking this picture with me.
And then I want to go, no, I'm actually a phony, I'm a fraud, I'm so full of shit, I still do horrible things, and then I feel like I'm being dishonest or something. I get really confused by that dynamic. I think I've just been a dirtbag for so long. It's like when people see you as you're like put you on a pedestal. You're like, no, I don't belong here. I don't belong here.
I don't know what you're talking
Throw me back in, coach.
Go watch Bill Burr. What are you bothering me for?
Yeah, what? Yeah.
Go watch Sebastian. That's real comedy. What are you bothering me for?
And then you make them feel bad for liking you. And they're like, fuck you. Like, you just took this thing away from me.
Yeah,
you just took away this moment from me by self-deprecating and having low self-esteem. And then I realized, like, okay, this isn't about you. Like, you can be of service to this person in this moment and just let them have their experience with you and just kind of do nothing, because they'll project onto you whatever they need. Just shut your mouth, say thank you. Don't argue with them. Don't tell them all the reasons that you don't deserve their attention. Don't self-deprecate. Take the photo, be gracious, and walk away. It's been really difficult for me. To receiving compliments, whoa.
I got to ask you one last thing. I know you got shit to do and motherfuckers to see. Did anybody ever tell you were half a psychic?
What does that mean?
I mean, how the fuck did you know to abandon ship on Roseanne a week before the ship went down? I mean, if I can't ask you that,
you can ask me whatever you want, Joey.
I understand for legal remedies.
I don't. Nope. There's no legal anything. No. I mean, it's weird because I guess there were lots of tweets before. I just didn't see them. Like even when like.
How did the whole Roseanne thing come about?
I was going to say I don't want to be boring and waste your time on it, but when after the election happened, this is kind of full circle to what we were first talking about. Like when the election happened. It was just, I think regardless of who you voted for, regardless of who you support, it was like, whoa, like this is crazy. And my family started breaking apart, and I very little family left. It was like my aunt wouldn't talk to my aunt, and everyone's fighting, and I just was like, this is fucking crazy. Facebook just turned into fuck you. And I was like, damn, like something just changed, something shifted. And I've always been a little bit disgruntled about Hollywood in general and feeling like an outsider in Hollywood. Very like, I want to write about like, middle class people, like working class problems. I want to write about paying bills. And everyone was like, you should write about her getting married. And it was just like, who wants to see that? Like I just never understood that sort of elite storytelling because I grew up poor and that's just not my experience. And I can only write what I know. And I always loved Roseanne. I was always a really big fan. And Michelle Obama had done a conference call and she had a bunch of showrunners and producers on it. I'm jumping around, I know. But she said that the metrics were in, and like Obama or not, it doesn't matter. The point is this research just happened to have come through her that is objective, which is that they can now link the passage of marriage equality to the show Will and Grace. So for people that might not have gay friends or no gay couples, like they could, have that show in their living room, once a week, and they felt more tolerant and more accepting that, gay people have problems just like us, and they fail and they have heartbreak and they have, triumphs, and so that was helpful. And she was like, so please in your TV shows, just keep that in mind, that like television can move the needle on social change and awareness. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Cause I thought that we were just a bunch of like frivolous, narcissistic, selfish people. Like, look at our TV shows. I always kind of felt like guilty about my job choice and indulgent or something. So I was like, oh, that's cool. And like, that's what Roseanne did, And cause Roseanne dealt with some heavy shit. There was an episode where DJ wouldn't kiss the black girl in the school play.
I remember all that. Yeah, that was tremendous.
Tremendous. And then Jackie, the domestic violence episode, where this isn't a sitcom. Jackie got knocked in the face. So there was a lot of really amazing. And John Goodman is,
were you a fan of the show while it was going on? Okay.
Huge.
Did you ever see the Larry King interview with her?
With her back then?
No, about 4 years ago.
I don't think so.
That's the one where she said that. See, if you would have watched that interview,
I would have known.
Yeah, she said that Oprah kidnapped her and put sensors in her brain to try to steal her ideas. But she said something that was so fucking brilliant. And that whole conversation that I'll never forget, and it gives me even more pride of being an R-rated comic. I don't give a fuck. He asked her about the show in '87. He goes, why did you throw the ABC executives out of your Christmas party in '87? You heard about that?
Yeah.
Like she asked him, and she goes, I'll tell you why. Because she goes, they didn't know shit. She goes, I'm a fucking comic. And when you're a comic, you direct, you produce, you write, you do it all.
Yeah.
They wanted the #1 show. I gave them the #1 show. We beat fucking Cosby and his perverts over there. And now they wanted to come and take all the credit.
That's right.
I threw them all the fuck out.
After they said, don't do the Black Kid Show. Don't do all the most genius stuff they said not to do.
I respected her all the way, you know. I'm still not mad at her today. She started in Denver. I started as soon
Did
as
she? I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, she's from Denver.
That's
As
crazy.
she was blowing up, that's like I still remember meeting the honor because of the Roseanne success. Comedy in Denver is now a boom, and you could take classes, and that's when I went and took classes. 91, I started.
Wow.
Right off the heels of Roseanne fucking
Killing.
just exploding.
And look, and so I didn't know, and I knew about, she admitted to having some psychological limitations. I have a lot of that in my life and my family. Like, I'm never going to judge someone for that or make fun of them for that or not work with them because of that. And, I heard she was like, a Bernie supporter and then voted for this. And I was just fascinated, but, without having any judgments, like, I think you should be able to work with somebody, even if you don't necessarily agree with them.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
It was just sort of like, it was just like, oh shit, this is going to get rebooted at a time when all of this is happening in the zeitgeist. Like, I can be a part of something that people are going to actually watch, because most people don't watch shit. Let's just be honest. Like, a lot of TV shows, we're in this echo chamber where we watch our shows and we all pat ourselves on the back and look how great these shows are. But like, a lot of the shows that are doing really well are these multicams that people in Hollywood kind of make fun of and are really sort of glib about, like, oh, the CBS multicams and da-da-da. It's like, all right, well, those are things people are watching. So this is a democracy. Why aren't we listening to the people that we're entertaining? It's like being a comic and you're bombing, but just like moving forward with a shitty bit that's not even working,
And they're yelling, give us pussy jokes.
Yeah, and you're
like,
just
I want to talk about drugs.
well, let's talk about Thoreau's pond. It's like, what the fuck? Like, so for me, I'm wired as a comic to just go like, what do people actually want? And like, let's go from there. And multicams, were always such a big part of my life. So this whole like people not liking multicams makes no sense. They're all the shows that we grew up on and are still our favorite. We're still watching Seinfeld and Friends. Those are still like the highest rated shows. Like, no one's making new good ones, and that's what people want. Anyway, so I thought, you know what? I can't say no to this opportunity. I mean, she's one of my comedy heroes. This was one of the best multicams. I want to learn how to make good multicams, because it's really hard. It's a science to not make it look corny and make the lighting suck. Like, it always felt like a play. There were drama moments. There was lots of silence. With the shows now, it's like joke, 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 joke. Everything someone says is a joke. They would go a minute without a joke. They were eating, they had cereal boxes out. It was messy, the set design. You look at sitcoms now, it always looks like a fake sort of like store window. There was like the wardrobe, they would wear the same clothes a couple times. They really honored the reality of being working class. And a lot of shows, even if there's a show about a poor person, they're wearing fancy clothes and it just doesn't feel authentic. Right. And so I was just fascinated by how they did that. Everything from the set design to the acting, to the writing, to the camera work, to the lighting and casting and wardrobe. So I just thought, like, this is how I'm going to make sense of this moment in time. And, got Wanda Sykes and Norm Macdonald and Morgan Murphy and all these incredible writers. And then we paired up with a lot of the writers that were on the original Roseanne, Bruce Helford and Bruce Rasmussen and Dave Kaplan, all these guys. And I wanted to expose myself to point of views that I didn't hold or necessarily even agree with or understand, because then you're not growing. What are you doing if you're just hanging out with only people that agree with you? You just get stupider, you know what I mean? And you get narcissistic, and I was just like, felt like I was in my echo chamber. My version of doing it a couple of years ago is I just like went to Vietnam for 2 weeks, I just am like, try to get out of my sort of little bubble. And again, I was a fan of Roseanne. I didn't follow her on Twitter. I didn't find out till later that there were lots of old tweets. And look, again, like, if you're being crazy and not hurting anybody, like, that's none of my business. I'm not going to hold you accountable for that. I didn't know about the drama and the Nazi photo and the Hillary pizza parlor. Like, I just didn't know about it because I just didn't follow her. And then it started to become very clear that the tweeting was a big problem. And I had been trying to convince everyone to shut that down for a while, to no avail. But I also didn't want to silence a comment. It's not my job to tell you to stop saying whatever you believe. So I was in this kind of really tricky situation where it's like, oh, I'm going to tell one of the best performers in the world to stop, like, having her creative outlet. Like, that's arrogant. So it just became clear that it was just going to continue to be really hard and unnecessarily controversial. And I just wanted to slowly kind of back out of the burning building. And then
at the right a week later.
Well, it was actually like a couple months, it leaked to the press because I didn't want to make a drama out of it. I didn't want it to be a news story that I was leaving, because I was really only going to do one season anyway. I just wanted to do the one season back because I was just doing other things and touring and stuff. But I'm still really glad I did it. I mean, it's heartbreaking what happened. And frustrating, and I was really angry for a while. I'm not angry anymore. I'm kind of just more like sad.
Well, I'm going to tell you something, and this is what a lot of people don't understand. I got here in 97, and by 97, there were 2 people who they wanted to kill. Roseanne was one of them, and Grace Under Fire. Grace Under Fire pissed them off so much, they canceled that bitch with 98 episodes.
Wow.
They wouldn't even let it go into syndication. Because the abuse ABC was getting from those women. I was in shock when they rehired Roseanne because I was here to hear all those stories.
You know what was crazy? I saw it. She could not have been more lovely to everyone.
No, she's lovely. I know her. She's
when you tell a comic, you don't think that one moment with the Amigo, she got that every day, all day on her material. Imagine someone coming to you, you tell a story that's been killing for 2 years, and they're like, could you do it this way? And you're like, get the fuck out of here. This is already killing. Like, this is proven to be good. What the fuck do you know? Some executive giving you notes on what's funny? You know? So she had to endure that for so long. And yeah, she was struggling with addiction. You know, there were all sorts of things going on, but I was never deterred by that reputation, you know, because I had a modicum of a moment where I had my own show, and I've tasted like, you know, a 1/100th of what she had to deal with. And I was like, I get it.
What's in the future for you, beautiful?
Special.
Besides breaking motherfucking hearts on a daily basis and shit.
I'm
you still breaking hearts?
Trying to get funny enough to follow you at the Comedy Store.
Shit. That's the least of your worries. You got a boyfriend?
I have a fiance.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
I didn't know that.
Isn't that weird?
I'm not even going to ask. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Good luck to him.
He's going to need it. He's never seen me do stand-up.
How long you been with him?
Almost 2 years.
He never want to see you do stand-up?
Never seen me do it live, yeah.
That's his best bet.
Isn't that funny? I don't want him to.
You love him?
I do. I do.
You ready to get married?
I think I am. Like, I'm trying not to overthink it.
Kids?
I froze my eggs, so I think maybe. You know, I didn't ever want kids, and then my dad died, and then I was like, oh, I want something that looks like him in some way. You know, like the concept of like procreating became sort of more of a like calling that I'd never felt before. I was like, oh, I have dogs, I have horses, like I'll just do that. I'll adopt a kid that needs a home. You know, like I always thought I would adopt a kid. But then after my dad passed away, I had this weird like...
Well, have one and adopt one.
Yeah, that's a good idea, right?
Have one and adopt one. That's a great family. I wish you nothing but luck. When I talk to people about you, I go, you know what? I would love to show Whitney Cummings my balls because you probably get up, told me to put mine away and put yours on the table, and they'd be bigger than mine. So
you did say that to me once. It gave me so much strength.
You have all the respect and admiration for me. I love you. Congratulations on your wedding and whatever you're gonna do, and whenever you want to come back and talk shit about your art. And I wish that if this goes further with Fox, I get you involved with this.
I'll do anything.
I'm gonna come with you,
and I'm gonna be aggressive about it too. Like, please let me come.
And we're both with CAA.
Yeah, so no, but I'll just come to the table reads and I'll just, you know.
No, I want you
any
around.
insight, even if it's just to say,
and
don't.
Especially after what you told me today, you know what I went through.
Yes.
You really know what I went through.
Yes, and the network notes.
And I loved her. You know, my mom used to do 2 piñatas, one for the kids at 3:00 and one for the adults. And the adult one, she would fill up with a little cocaine. And the kids would be gone. The adults would pull the piñata down, and mommy would go in there and get the aluminum foils for mommy. And I would bring them back for my mother.
There's your cold open.
That's your flashbacks. You know,
yep,
and
there it is.
telling her, Mom, wipe your nose.
That's it.
These are all things that only you would understand.
This fall on Fox, wipe your nose.
Wipe your nose.
Wipe your fucking hashtag.
Any
wipe
dates
your
you
nose.
want to promote?
Yeah.
Are they all sold out?
They're all there. I'm doing a million fucking dates, but I'm shooting my special in DC March 20-something.
And it's Whitney
Cummings.com. Yes, sir.
Okay, you never know because gmail.net.
Some people are like hilariouslindsay.net. Yeah, just make it your fucking name. Get your domain.
Please go to WhitneyCummings.com. Check up her upcoming dates. She's one of the goods. She's one of the ladies of the Comedy Store who destroys. Who's in the lineup with fucking killers on a Tuesday night. Most women would stay home and watch Orange is the New Purple. She comes down there to fuck people up. So in my world, you get all the respect that I'm ultimately, what's he say? What's the end of, what's Grease? I'm not a fool for women to turn around
and wait for you.
You're a good
What is
singer.
it? Alter Me. What was that song?
I just know Grease Lightning or some shit.
Devoted.
Hopelessly devoted. When they're singing on that fucking rock.
That's me.
I love you. I love you. I feel like this wasn't. I feel like I'm never funny on podcasts, and then I'm gonna beat myself up in the car for like 2 hours after this.
No, you're gonna
like, I should have been funnier. I should have told like a funny story.
I love you. Thank you very much. WhitneyCummings.com. She's family. Give her whatever she wants.
Love you.
And that's it. I want to thank Whitney. I want to thank the Christ Killer. His mom's coming to town. He's all happy.
Oh, cool. From where?
Hanukkah
Boston.
Best.
Cool.
Boston. So you guys are having a great time next week. And I'm your Uncle Joey. I love you motherfuckers. We won't be around next week. You'll have a rough week without me because I'm going to be in New York City with my family. But we might do something maybe Thursday just to keep you on ice if me and Lee are bored and Lee's sick of his mom by that. It'll be
Can you
a
please
weekend.
just do a video of you and your mom?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I'm trying to get her to start a podcast.
Oh, good. Really? I'll do it.
It's just a mom advice one, yeah.
The attorney's mom.
That's actually a really good idea.
To tell her that, yeah, she's nervous.
But that's good.
And don't forget for you after Christmas motherfuckers, where are you that week? Or you're in Portland?
After first week, I'm in Raleigh. There's a new club in Raleigh.
A new one?
Yep.
Not Charlie Goodnights?
Nope. I think it's an improv. Fuck.
Oh,
sorry. I should really know my venues.
But anyway, if you've not got nothing to do after Christmas, the 27th, 28th, 29th, I'm up in Oxnard at Levity Live. And that's it, and that's that. All right, I want to thank Whitney Cummings. I want to thank the Flying Jew, a.k.a. the Christ Killer, a.k.a. the Momo Savant, a.k.a. Leonardo Space, a.k.a. my little brother for helping him out. And I want to thank you guys for always having our backs and supporting us. Like I said, if you came to La Jolla, you guys saw a great show. Lee did great. Eric Rocha did great. Me, I don't know what the fuck I do. I get up there and I do what I do. But I want to thank you guys for all your support throughout the year. But hold on 1 second. I want to talk to you about a couple things. First of all, Robinhood is an investment app that lets you buy and sell stocks, ETFs, options, cryptos, all commission-free. It's a non-intimidating way for stock market newcomers to invest for the first time with true confidence. Simple and intuitive. It's a clear design with data presented in an easy-to-digest way. All right? Number one, and this is how easy this is. There's no commission fees. Other brokerages charge up to $10 for every trade, but Robinhood does not charge commission fees, trade stocks, or keep all your profits. It's easy to understand charts and market data. Place a trade in just 4 taps on your smartphone. Just 4 taps. Robinhood web platform also lets you view stock collections, the 100 most popular sectors like entertainment and social media, and curated categories like female CEOs, and analyst ratings of buy, hold, and sell for every stock. Listen, you learn by doing. You learn how to invest as you build your portfolio. You discover new stocks and track favorite companies with personalized news feeds, custom notifications for price movements so you'll never miss the right time to invest. Are you kidding me? Or what? This is what Robinhood is doing. And I'll tell you what else they're going to do. As part of the kickoff, this is how you kick off a year. Robinhood is giving the church family a free stock like Apple, Ford, or Sprint to help build your portfolio. Gratis, free. Sign up at church.robinhood.com. That's church.robinhood.com. When you think the perfect gift, you probably don't think of an electric toothbrush. But the Quip electric toothbrush is one of the most gift-guided gifts of the season. Here's why. It's perfect for everyone with a mouth. And it's something they'll use twice every day. Listen, me and my wife, we love it. You plug it in, it takes one charge every, 30 days or something like that. Don't matter. Especially if you're a traveler, Quip is the way to go. Why? It has sonic vibrations, gentle enough on your sensitive gums, and a built-in timer with guiding pulses to remind you when to switch sides. Quip makes holiday travels clean and easy with a multi-use cover that mounts to mirrors and unmounts to slide over the bristles for on-the-go brushing. Quip doesn't require a chunky charger. It runs on 3 months on one charge. 3 months on one charge. Quip is the gift that keeps refreshing, with brush heads automatically delivered on a dentist-recommended schedule every 3 months for $5. Now, you can even gift prepaid refills
for the year to make sure you're never using old, worn-out, ineffective bristles. Quip is also one of the first electric toothbrushes accepted by the American Dental Association and has thousands of verified 5-star reviews, okay? This is why I love Quip, and this is why I might think Quip is a good gift for you. Quip has been great to me and my wife, and with over 5,000 verified star reviews, you can't go wrong. Quip, on the outside, it looks like a big-ticket tech gift, but with a stocking stuffer price starting at $25. And if you go to getquip.com/Joey right now, you'll get your first refill pack for free with a Quip electric toothbrush, but you don't have to tell your giftee that, all right? Merry Christmas. Spread some cheer this year. Go to getquip.com/Joey right now and start cleaning your mouth and give the gift a clean mouth so from now on you don't get shot in the face with bad breath. You know what I'm saying? Because bad breath will kill you too. I also want to talk to you people about something. It's that time of the year, enough is enough. For the last 30 years, your asshole's been stinking like a billy goat. And this can't continue because you're a filthy fucking A. I got my issues too. My ass is no fucking Wonderland either. That's why I got a Tushy.com. Let me tell you something. Hello Tushy is the #1 provider of portable bidets. Takes you 10 minutes to put it on. You can have hot or cold water. As far as a 60-day guarantee, you can wipe your ass with it because it's held my stinky ass for fucking 3 years. You understand me? So if it could hold my 300-pound stinky fucking muffler of death, can you imagine the wonders it'll do for your nice, simple asshole? You're a nice guy. You eat fucking kale. You take Onnit products. But anyway, Hello Tushy is one of the best gifts you could give somebody because they start at $69 fucking dollars. Listen, $69. Listen, $69. They come in all colors. They got little Turkish towels for you to drive your little muffler. After that, you put a little talcum powder in your ass, and later on you stay naked and you fart and the powder goes out of your ass. I used to do it all the time in the 4th grade. That's why they almost drew me out of Catholic school. But anyway, go to HelloTushy.com right now. Take a look at the fine selection of the portable bidets. You see something you like? Press in muffler and get 10% off your order. That's how we're rolling tonight. Again, I want to thank my girl, Whitney Cummings. I want to thank Lee, and I want to thank you guys for being family and for having my back. I ain't shit, but with you guys, I got a motherfucking shot. I'll see you guys next week or in 10 days, but I'll pop up. I'll be on the Periscope. I'll be around. Don't worry about nothing. I'm like Tony Bennett. I want to be around. All right, I love you guys. Stay black. Have a great week. Get that fucking meal, Lee.